Hey everyone, how are you? Welcome to this week's 5-point update. You may be familiar with this, or you may be a brand new face that's only come on board and booked your first lesson. So I want everyone to know the same stuff. So a weekly update of which there are 5 things that I think you need to know. 5 things that may help or hinder your driving test dream and how soon you can achieve it. And it's a way that you could educate yourself or think about things that you might want to ask me about or do some study on, so that you can be either more self-sufficient or take some sort of practice when you're out with mum and dad, big brother, little sister, husband or wife, and make your progress, you know, even faster. And I have to be mindful that there's new people that are only seeing this for the first time, and there's those of you that look in on it every week and take your updates. So either play it as an audio thing while you're walking the dog or something, or sit and watch it, but there is value in here. I'm doing it because there's things I want to share with you, and writing it all out in words and WhatsApping it doesn't always, some people don't want to read pages of stuff. So 5 things then. Changes at the DVSA, changes to the driving test, apps and technology and things that will help you become a better driver, be more thorough, and update your knowledge, I suppose, is a good way of summarizing that. The stuff that I've got that you could be using, app-based, book-based, website-based, that will help nerves and fear and stress and management. Really key part of driving test success. And then my schedule, how it looks, and how you might take best advantage of it going forward, how you might capitalize on, or when you check WhatsApp, why you check WhatsApp, and how you might benefit from doing all that. So 5 things then. So the DVSA, they're the people that do driving tests, and they conduct my tests, so for example. So they test me to make sure I'm good enough to do this. They have vehicle safety kind of responsibilities as well. They oversee the way the theory test is done. So it's everything except licenses and tax disc, get the word out. That's the DVLA, and then everything else is a DVSA. So the head of the DVSA is appointed, and they report to the Ministry of Transport, who report to the government. So they very much fingers in the pie as to who they have and what they do. The person that was in charge, and they were in there for 4 or 5 years, they've been encouraged to leave. So the headline says the head of DVSA steps down, but truly what I believe's happened is somebody said enough is enough and you got to go. So how that might affect you is, with all big business and small businesses too, but any big organization, when there's a change at the top, often what might happen is everyone gets more productive for a little while. They try really hard, and they, you know, because they're thinking, oh my god, I don't lose my job. And some of the time productivity goes up, and you as the end user, you get the benefit. There might suddenly be tests on a Saturday and stuff like that, because they want to prove their worth. Then the new person comes in, and they'll do one of 2 things. They'll either pile straight in with a ton of changes and change all things upside down and inside out and create chaos, or they'll sit and wait, usually about 100 days, and then watch the organisation and then come up with a list of things that will change. But either way, things are going to change. They will, because if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. And for 5 years, what they've done at the DVSA has not made any helpful changes, really, from my perspective, to driving test wait times. That's certainly true. You can prove that to be so. And it hasn't improved the quality of drivers. And you couldn't really say they've done anything that well. So that change has happened. The driving test is going to change. So there's a load of proposals that were made, and they've decided that they're going to run with them. And the changes are this. So currently, and this will be the case till probably April, but currently you go off and practice and do your theory and study hard and really throw yourself at it. And that won't change, and that's what you do. Then you take a theory test and you pass it. Wonderful. And then what would happen, certainly from my perspective and my business point of view, is you would tell me that you passed. I would secure you a driving test date. It will be 24 weeks away, maybe more. And it might be in a test centre we'll never go to, on a day we'll never go there. But it's one way I can get a test in the first place. So for the sake of an argument, somebody passes their theory, they tell me they're really excited, and I go, oh great, okay, let me get a test for you. So I'll go off and get them a test in Glasgow or Aberystwyth in Wales or something, and it'll be like the end of next April. And I do that because there's like a very small time window on a Monday where I can book tests. It's about an hour ish. You might be trying to book your own test, you might be sat online waiting, but like trying to buy Oasis tickets, and you get to the front of the queue, and 8 a.m. all the tests are gone, and you've sat there and thought, oh god. In the meanwhile, because I have a a log-on credential from the DVSA, let me take a second, I can book tests quicker than you can. That used to be the way it worked. Then we've got a piece on the chessboard in a figurative sense, and then we'll be able to, on a future occasion, switch it to a Leicester-based date on a time and date that makes more sense. And then I've got the opportunity to switch it with somebody else. And because I've booked the tests, I'd be able to switch, for example, excuse me, yours and somebody else's. So you may be ahead of schedule because you've worked really hard, and the other person, let's call him Tom. Tom's not really practiced enough. He keeps cancelling lessons, possibly. Maybe he's run out of money. That happens. You know, you plan in your budget, but don't always go the way you want. Maybe he broke his ankle playing tennis or something. So one of these reasons, he's behind plan. He's not going to be ready for this fictitious January test. But you are way ahead, and you're April. Let's say that's true. So I can easily switch. You pair around, you get what you want, the sooner test. Tom accepts, you know, hopefully that his test needs to be later because he's not practiced enough, and he gets what he wants. I'm available for both. You can use my car. Familiarity is a big thing in terms of driving test day. You don't want to be driving another car you've never driven, for example, and it all works well. That's how it is today. What's going to happen from April, they say, is that you and only you can book your test. So you'll have to sit and wait online, hope that there's some sort of dates. They'll come up on a Monday about 6 a.m, the way things currently work. You may or may not get one. And then you've got your date, great. And then hopefully you will have run it past me to see if I'm free, if you want my help. And it all works great. That would be the plan. Invariably what will happen, and this is what used to happen a lot, is you'll book your test on a Monday morning, no problem with that, and you'll only be able to pick from, if you think about it, you'll be able to pick from 1 week's worth of test dates, and if you're Leicester based, the 5 or so Leicester test centres. So you've gone on in good faith and booked a test for April the 12th, 10 a.m. at Wigston, right? Meanwhile, Bob, I'm helping Bob, fictitious Bob. Bob's done the same thing. He sees the same data you see because he's logged on at 6 a.m. Monday as well. And Bob books the same day. He's Hannock Street though, 45 minutes after you. I can't be in two places. Not possible. You might want my help. Therefore, how do I split myself in two? What if it's manual car, auto car? How do I fix that? So, days gone by, yeah, don't worry. I'll phone in and I'll change it. That would be okay. That's now, can't do that. Only you and only you can change your date and location. Only you and only you can change it twice maximum. And geographically, they're going to put boundaries on it. So using this Wales example or Scotland, I booked your test for you, or you booked your test for you, and you picked it in Glasgow because it's the only one you could get. Now you want to switch it to Leicester, excuse me, and they'll go, well, no, well, why'd you book it up there? So there's a geographical limitation as well as two changes only. So you could waste one of your swaps by simply being really enthusiastic and picking a day and time I can't do when someone else has done the exact same thing and I can be in one place at once. So I'm not madly in love with what they've done. I understand that they're trying to do something and they've rushed to a decision, but they've taken away the flexibility where we could be talking and making good decisions. And so you could find that you may have to end up moving a test if you want my help. Watch this space, because they never do anything to schedule, they never do it on time. But for now, for the here and now, and certainly between now and April of 26, the plan will be, I'll get your test for you once you pass your theory. and it will be a date and a location that maybe we're not going to use, and then in good time we'll switch it and we'll get a less date and all will be fine. But the change that's coming is going to be a change that's restrictive. Their thinking is they want to do away with all these apps and bots that pick up test dates and store them, so that a individual or a business who could be a bit unscrupulous sell tests for huge money. And the kind of way it currently works is that you're so keen to pass a test and you know how long the wait's going to be, and so therefore you will take any offer you could get. I suppose that could be true. Companies will offer knockdown lesson prices often for just recently theory passed people. So you might see this cracking price, like, I don't know, 25 quid an hour for your first 4 hours or something like that. If you've passed your theory, terms and conditions apply, will be the small print. You then go and you log on and whatever, and they go, oh yeah, great, if you passed your theory, you go, yeah. You go, great, okay, give us your license then, give us the details, and that can be a genuine request. But what you might not know is in the background, they've gone off and bought a test in your name. They've changed the email format so that you don't get the update they do, and then they hold on to it, knowing that you ain't going to take a test for a year or more. They then sell and swap that date and knock it out for 300, 400, 500, and then they change yours eventually to a date that may or may not work for you, and you might not be any the wiser. So that could happen in the background. So this change is meant to try and stop that. It's going to probably do away with cancellation apps as well. So cancellation apps do the same sort of thing, like a little computer program that, for example, Tim can't do his test in 3 weeks time because he just isn't ready. So he cancels it in good faith. It appears momentarily. This little system-y botty thing scoops it up, holds on to it, books it in some stranger's name because they've captured your details. They then hold it and then they sell it on. So they're trying to stop that happening, because it's quite naughty really, isn't it? Holding someone's data without really asking and selling tests for profit and never telling them. So that's the why, and the when is April 26th. So for now though, nothing changes, we carry on as before. In terms of apps, so I spoke last week about the use of 2 apps in particular that I think you'll really get some mileage from, really get some help from if you throw yourself at it and use them. One is the Drive Johnson's app. High quality stuff in there, videos, books, manuals. What else is in there? How-to guides, pictorial if you like to use pictures rather than video, tips on how to pass your test, tips on what test they will happen. It's quite a meaty sort of resource if you like. And because as I work with them, and there's the logo, I do work with them, I pay under license, for want of a word. I pay them money and they say you can use our books, and I'll put our roof box on the car and take photos and publish it on our website and all the rest of it. And so I like their stuff. The people that train teach the way I do in terms of maneuvers and such like. So you could be excuse me, swatting up and studying how to do bay parking or whatever through an app, through a book, through a steel, through a picture, and helping yourself. And that could be really helpful. Learn to Drive Pro is another one I quite like. I've got quite close to the guy that runs it, and so I'm using their product again. I buy it on, if you like, and then I let you use it as part of the service, and I pay them per person, so which is fine, but it's got some good stuff in it. So the bit that's in there that people really like is visual versions of how to do the theory test, visual versions of how to do traffic signs. There's CGI little videos of little cars driving along and turning left and turning right and doing roundabouts with a voiceover, like, oh, this is the roundabout and this is when we indicate and we should be changing gear here. Some people like that. It gives them an idea of the how they could even try to solve the problem. So again, if you want to, tell me and I'll hook you up to it, and you can go off and start practicing by yourself with some sound quality learning materials to back you up. So I can only buy so many licenses. They're not unlimited because it's per person. So I usually have 30, I think. So if you want to be one of those, excuse me, then let me know. What else? The Nerves and Stress Management apps. So there's apps, there's a book, there's a website. Driving test success when you've done enough practice. Driving test success when you've learnt how to control a car. Driving test success when you've studied the theory test and the highway code and the signs and all the rest of it. The failure bit often comes from nerves and stress and losing control up here. And it's a process, it's a training requirement, I guess, to make your resilience, your emotional stability, your ability to deal with little setbacks much stronger. And we'll talk about this in the car, and if we've done lessons we would have talked about this already. But there's 4 key pillars to driving test success for me. One is to be what I call bookworm smart. You may have heard me use those words. It's theory test app, the highway code, the traffic signs book, the rules, the procedures, what does this yellow line mean, all that. Turning information and input, to use a word, into action and knowledge. So there's that. Can't get by without that. 2, driving skill. So you need the physical control of the car, the skill to make it do what you want. The word you'll hear me say when we talk, it's an input-output machine. If I do this, the car does this. If I do this, the car does this. And it's knowing what input and when to make the car do the thing that you want, so it never does anything that catches you out. So that's the physical skill bit. There's the what I call the driving brain bit. The driving brain bit is the being able, while moving around and on the move and driving the car, to be always looking at every scenario and say to yourself, what might happen here? Is that car door going to open? Is that traffic light going to go red? Is that cyclist going to do this? Is that car going to come off a driveway? Is the road getting more narrow? Is it getting wider? What's happening to the speed and such like? So the way that we boil that down to a couple of sentences is the thinking pattern we try to develop is wherever we go and whatever we do, we're always prepared for the thing that might happen next, and it's the thing we might not want. So the phrase I use in the car is, imagine what's the next thing that could happen, and it's the worst thing for you. What will you do if that happens next? So that's the car door opens, the light goes red, the kid runs in the road, the dog's off a lead in the park, whatever. So you're kind of hazard perception on the move. You're driving with a healthy amount of forward planning and alert level, not massively paranoid and driving at 2 miles an hour just in case you crash. It's finding the balance between being assertive and being forward thinking and getting around without holding people up, but always being mindful for what could go wrong and how you're going to deal with it. So they're the 3 pillars, but the 4th one is emotional resilience, mental toughness, and how to be able to, I guess, get over mistakes in the moment, how to get past the errors, because we'll have educated you to a level where you'll know what all the kind of little faults are, and the words you may hear are serious fault, minor fault, driver fault, dangerous fault, and you'll hear these words and you think, yeah, I know what they mean now. And that's great that you know what they mean and you know what examples of those are, but what we don't want is this paralysis, this thinking paralysis that happens when you're driving along on a lesson or a test and you go, oh no, God, Jesus, I forgot the indicator, or oh no, I braked too hard, oh God, I steered a bit too close to the curb, whatever it is. Then you'll know that that's a fault, and in so which category and such like, which, okay, but the thinking pattern that's got to go with that is, well, I can't change it. I've got to get over it. I've got to look past it. I can't sit in the current, in the now, and dwell on the past when I should be being present of mind in the now and looking towards the future, studying, reading the road ahead, whatever. And that's where people go wrong. They dwell on the thing they've done to the point where it creates worry and fear and stress and whatever, and then it impedes their performance, and they can't cope with it. They can't keep a lid on it. These books and this app and all the stuff, oh, I promise you it works. So ask me about it and I'll send it. All the stuff I've got, books, apps, whatever, it all helps. I promise you it helps. So use as much as you want, but you've got to ask me because again, it's under license, and I pay the people that make it, and so I'll only buy as many licenses as I need, because I could buy 100 and 30 people use it, but I'm still paying them for 100, so that doesn't make business sense. So yeah, use everything I throw at you, because there's a reason why I did. And then lastly, my schedule. So we're currently November. My schedule reads till next November. I think from memory, currently there's nothing in manual till April, and there's nothing in auto till March. Now I know how many tests we've got. I know I've got a pretty good idea who's going to do well and who's going to walk through their test, and that will create dates So they'll pass and they'll go, oh my God, I passed, woo, and off they go. Then they'll vacate the 20 lessons they've still got that they don't need. And I know that happens. I've done this long enough to know how it changes. So don't despair if you think, oh my God, there's no dates. But what I would encourage you to do always is to check your WhatsApp every other day, if not, to make sure you save my number, because if you haven't, you don't get the updates. I put you on a broadcast list, it's called on my end, broadcast to all, and I type a message, send, off it goes, and there's say 100 people in the list, right? If I'm not saved in your phone, an anti-spam WhatsApp-y thing goes, nope, you can't send it to them. So I can write to you, hello, how are you? Hello, we've got a lesson next week. But what I can't do is broadcast to all if you haven't saved me. So it's in your interest to do that, because I don't want you to miss out and miss the cancellations, you see. So I work less hours, I did this last week. I work less hours October till March. Same amount of weekends, but less evenings. And then March to September, I work like a crazy man. I do 6 days, 6.5 days. I do 4 nights a week, whatever. So there's plenty when the sun's up and it's bright, but not so many when it's dark and it's rainy and it's horrible. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I work really hard, March to September, 5 days, 6 days, whatever. I've got other business interests. I've got other things I need to do. I've got things other responsibilities and so on. And so for those reasons, I have to shrink my commitments down and get other stuff done. So I don't need to miss out. So 5 things then. The head of the DVSA has gone. Changes will come. We don't know what they are. I've got a feeling, but could be wholesale, could be immediate. But as I say, it could be 3 months from now, and then things get turned upside down. Driving tests are changing from April 26. When they do, only you can book them, only you can change them. They'll let you change them twice, and they won't let they won't let you book them just any old place, which currently you can. I'm encouraging you to use apps, Drive Johnson's app, Learn to Drive Pro app in particular. I'm encouraging you to use the books and all the stuff I send that helps you with nerves and stress management. If you're going to read one book, Chimp Paradox, I'll send it to you. I've got it and I can distribute it. Massively helpful book. And make sure I'm saved as a contact if you want schedule updates, and recognize that I have less availability to offer you October till March, but it massively improves March to September. And if you stay on top of your WhatsApp, you might be the one that gets the cancellations, the opportunity for cancellations. That's this week's. There is one more thing. I was going to put it on next week's actually, but I've just thought about it and I'll do it now. Every year there's a driver trainer industry has loads of meetings and conferences and stuff, and then they educate me on what's happening. So I get my 5-thing update off them, if you like. And there's usually awards ceremonies that go around, and they are based around whether you're a driver trainer, which I am, or you're a driving school and you own a whole business with loads of instructors, which I don't, or you do lorry training, which I don't, or motorbike training, which I don't. So there's loads of categories. The best resources, the best app of the year, all this. And each of those businesses has done a really good job, and then people recognise them, and then through what's called the public vote, those that are happy with what they do, they can vote, and then that person might be successful. And it means an awful lot when you are recognised in the industry that you are, and above the 42,000 people that do this job I do, someone might say that you're doing a really good job, which has happened. It's really good, it's fantastic. And I don't know who it was, and I thank you for doing it if it was you, but I got nominated, and it's not the first time. I got nominated for one of the regional awards for Driving Instructor of the Year in the East Midlands, and because a number of people voted for me, and I love that they did, it allows me to then send it out to you and say, if you feel that I'm doing a great job, you're really happy with the work I've done, if you feel like I've helped you in a way that you couldn't be helped before, and if you want to formally sort of recognise that, and if you want to back me, then great, use the WhatsApp that I sent, and it's a quick voting process, and it would be amazing if you could, because it's really nice to even be considered, really. But as I say, somebody's put me on that list, and it's great. And so yeah, follow that link if you'd like to express your view and support me. That would be amazing. Thank you for letting me help you. I know you got more than one choice out there, and I will see you the next time we're in the car. Take care. Bye bye.